Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for being here. Today, I'm sharing a deeply personal story, one that changed the way I see family, trust, and loyalty. This isn't easy to talk about, but it's important to tell it exactly as it happened. Please stay with me until the end.
I didn't even realize the house was too quiet until I heard my own breathing echo off the hallway walls. It was that kind of silence that presses against your ears, the kind that feels wrong. My daughter's room was at the end of the hall, door half open, pale afternoon lights spilling across the carpet. Normally, by 4:30, I'd hear scales drifting down the corridor, slow, patient bow strokes, the soft scratch of a 13-year-old warming up before her lesson. That sound had been the background music of our lives for 6 years. I set my purse on the console table and called out, "Lena!" No answer. I kicked off my shoes and walked toward her room, already pulling my phone out to check the time. Maybe she was in the backyard. Maybe she'd gone to the neighbors with her skateboard again. Then I reached her doorway. The cello stand was empty. Not knocked over, not moved to the side. Empty. The space beside her music stand looked naked, like someone had ripped a painting off the wall and left a pale rectangle behind. Her rosin was still on the dresser. Her tuner sat where she'd left it that morning. The velvet-lined case, dark green, scuffed at the corners from years of competitions and airports and back seats, was gone. I just stood there for a second, staring, my brain refusing to process what my eyes were telling me. My stomach dropped so fast I actually felt dizzy. "Lena?" I called again, louder this time. She appeared in the doorway behind me, backpack slung over one shoulder, hair frizzed from the wind. "Yeah?" I turned so fast my purse slid off my shoulder. "Where's your cello?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" My heart started hammering. "Where is it, honey?" Her face changed, just a flicker. Confusion first, then something like panic trying to stay hidden. Grandma and Grandpa took it." The words didn't land right away. What? She shrugged, but it wasn't casual. It was the kind of shrug kids do when they're scared of the answer to the next question. "I don't know. Grandpa said it was an emergency. He said you'd understand." I stared at her. My parents lived 20 minutes away. They did not borrow things without calling, especially not my daughter's cello, especially not the instrument we insured for more than my car, especially not the Italian antique my late husband had bought at an estate sale when Lena was 7, and everyone thought he was insane for dropping $40,000 on something that looked like a scratched-up wooden box. I swallowed. "Did they take the case, too?" She nodded slowly. "When?" "Like 2 hours ago." My phone was already in my hand. I didn't even tell her I was calling them. I just hit my mother's contact. It rang and rang. Then voicemail. I hung up and called my father. Straight to voicemail. I tried again and again. Nothing. Lena was watching my face now, eyes wide. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" "No," I said, automatically, too fast. "No, baby, of course not." I forced my voice to soften, even though my chest felt tight enough to crack a rib. "Go start your homework. I'll handle it." She hesitated. "But I have practice." "I know." I didn't say anything else. I couldn't, because the thought that kept looping in my head was loud and ugly and impossible. They wouldn't. They wouldn't touch that. Not after everything. I waited 5 minutes, then 10. I drove. I didn't text, I didn't warn them I was coming. I just grabbed my keys and told Lena to stay inside and lock the door. The whole drive over, my hands shook on the steering wheel. Every memory stacked on top of the next. My father standing in the back of the recital hall 3 years ago, arms crossed, complaining that classical music was a dead end. My mother whispering too loudly at Thanksgiving that I was putting too much pressure on Lena. The way they'd asked about the cello's value last summer, pretending it was casual. "So what's something like that worth now?" my mom said, passing mashed potatoes. I laughed. "More than I want to think about." My dad whistled. "For a kid's instrument?" "It's not a kid's instrument," I snapped. He raised his eyebrows, amused. "Relax, I was just curious." I pulled into their driveway so fast my tires crunched gravel. Their garage door was closed. The curtains in the front windows were drawn. I knocked. Hard. Nothing. I knocked again, louder. "Mom! Dad!" No movement. I walked around the side of the house and peered through the window near the kitchen sink. Empty. My stomach flipped. I went back to the front door and tried the handle. Locked. I stood there, breathing fast, then called my mother again. This time she answered. Her voice was bright, too bright. "Oh, hi, sweetie." "Where is Lena's cello?" Silence. Just long enough. "What?" "You took it. Where is it?" She sighed, like I was asking about a sweater she'd borrowed. "We just needed it for a little while." "For what?" "Don't get hysterical." "I'm not hysterical. That instrument is insured, cataloged, and not yours. Where is it?" Another pause. Then my father's voice cut in, sharp. "Lower your tone." My nails dug into my palm. "You came into my house and removed my daughter's property. Tell me where it is." My mother said, "We sold it." The world tilted. "What?" "We sold it," she repeated, slower this time, like I hadn't heard properly. "It was just sitting there, Emily." My ears rang. "You sold my daughter's cello?" "It was worth a fortune," my father said, and frankly, it was ridiculous to let a kid own something like that. I couldn't speak for a second. When I finally did, my voice didn't sound like mine. "You sold it for how much?" There was a little beat of pride in my mother's voice. $87,000. I felt like I'd been punched. "You." My chest tightened so hard I had to lean against their front door. "You stole from my child." "We did what was practical," my father snapped. "You're raising her on pipe dreams, classical music schools, competitions, private lessons. You're barely keeping that house afloat. You have no idea what my finances are." "We know you're behind on the mortgage," my mother said softly. That made my head snap up. "How do you know that?" Silence. Again. Then my father, "Answer the question. Answer where you sold it. That's not important. It is the only thing that's important." "We needed the money," my mother said. "For what?" Another pause. Longer. Too long. I closed my eyes. "For what?" My father exhaled sharply. "Your brother is in trouble." My stomach dropped in a different way. "What kind of trouble?" "Financial," my mother said. "Serious financial." "Daniel is 42 years old. He made some bad investments." "He always makes bad investments." "He needed help." "So you robbed my daughter?" "We didn't rob anyone," my father said. "We sold an object that did not belong to you. It was in your house," he shot back. "We're family." I laughed. It came out broken and sharp. "You broke into my house." "We had a spare key." "I gave you that for emergencies." "This was an emergency." "You did not have permission." "Where are her grandparents?" my mother said, wounded. "She doesn't need something like that." I felt my throat burn. "She has played that instrument every day for 6 years. She can get another one." "You sold the one her father bought before he died." The line went quiet. I heard my mother inhale. "That was years ago." My hands were shaking so badly my phone rattled against my ear. "Tell me where the buyer is." "We don't have to," my father said. "You absolutely do." "No." I pulled the phone away and stared at it for a second, disbelief flooding every vein. Then I said, very slowly, "If you don't tell me where that cello is, I will call the police." My mother scoffed. "Over family business? This is theft. You wouldn't do that." I looked at their locked door, the drawn curtains, the empty house. "I'm in your driveway." Silence. My father spoke first. "Go home. Tell me." "No." I hung up. I didn't even think. I sat in my car, hands still shaking, and dialed 911. When the dispatcher answered, my voice cracked halfway through explaining. "My parents took my daughter's instrument from my home and sold it without permission." She asked for the address. I gave it. She asked for the item's description. I swallowed. An antique Italian cello, late 19th century, dark varnish, green velvet case, valued at, my voice broke, at over $80,000. The police arrived faster than I expected. 2 cars, lights off but still unmistakable. I walked back up to the house with them, heart pounding. They knocked. No answer. They knocked again. Still nothing. One of the officers tried the handle. Locked. "They're not home," I said. "Do they live here?" "Yes. Do you have any idea where they went?" I shook my head. They admitted it on the phone. The officer nodded slowly. "You recorded the call." I froze. "No." He exchanged a look with his partner. "Do you have proof they took it?" "My daughter was home. They came in with their spare key." "That's something," he said carefully, "but we'll need more." My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from my mother. "Why are you calling the cops on Mom and Dad?" I stared at it, then typed, "Did you know they stole Lena's cello?" A long pause. Then, "They didn't steal it. They sold it to help me. It was just—"
I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while the shadows from passing cars slid across it, my phone clutched in my hand like it might vibrate with the answer to everything if I stared at it hard enough. It didn't. Lena slept in my bed, curled against my side the way she hadn't since she was little, her breathing soft and uneven. Every time she shifted, my chest tightened all over again. I kept replaying my mother's voice. "We sold it." Like she'd said, "We returned it," or "We moved it to the garage." $87,000. The number pulsed behind my eyes. At 2:13 a.m., I gave up pretending to rest and slipped out of bed. I padded into the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water I didn't drink, just held it while scrolling through my phone. Nothing from my brother. Nothing from my parents. I opened the Notes app and started writing everything I could remember about the cello. Year, maker, the faint crack near the lower bout that had been repaired in Boston, the tiny fleur-de-lis burned into the lining of the case from some long-gone luthier, the serial number stamped inside the F-hole, something Lena and I had memorized after the insurance appraisal. I dug through my email and found the appraisal report. $92,000 estimated retail value. I felt sick. They'd sold it cheap, which meant they'd sold it fast, which meant whoever bought it knew exactly what they were looking at, and that meant it wasn't sitting in someone's living room. It was already moving. By morning, I had 3 missed calls from an unfamiliar number. I listened to the first voicemail while brushing my teeth. "Miss Carter? This is Detective Alvarez with the County Sheriff's Office. Please call me back regarding the theft report you filed last night." The word theft hit harder than I expected. I called back immediately. He answered on the second ring. "Emily Carter?" "Miss Carter, thank you for calling back. I spoke with the officers who responded last night." "Yes?" "We're opening an investigation. I need to ask you a few more questions." I sat at the kitchen table, the appraisal report open in front of me. "What do you need?" "Did your parents admit to selling the instrument?" "Yes, over the phone." "And you have text messages from them acknowledging that it's gone?" "Yes." "Good." My pulse picked up. "Can you get it back?" "We'll try." That wasn't comforting. He asked about the spare key, about when I'd last seen the cello, about who knew its value, about the appraisal, about whether I'd posted photos online. I answered everything. When I hung up, my coffee had gone cold. I drove Lena to school. She didn't bring up the cello. That somehow hurt more. At a stoplight, she stared out the window and said quietly, "If they can't get it back, do I still have to go to regionals?" I swallowed. "Yes." "But I don't have an instrument." "We'll rent one." She nodded, but her mouth twisted a little. "It won't sound the same." "I know." After I dropped her off, I didn't go to work. I drove back to my parents' neighborhood. Their driveway was empty again. This time, I didn't knock. I went straight to the neighbor's house. Mrs. Haskins answered in a robe, hair in curlers. "Oh, Emily, honey."
Did you see my parents yesterday? She frowned. Yesterday afternoon, yes. Your father was loading boxes into the trunk. My heart thudded. What kind of boxes? Medium ones, like you get from the liquor store. I forced my voice to stay steady. Did you see anything shaped like a cello case? She blinked. Well, there was a long thing wrapped in a blanket. My stomach dropped. Did he put it in their car? No, a black SUV. Didn't recognize it. What time? Maybe 3:30? 3 o'clock. They'd been on their way to sell it while Lena was doing homework. Did you see the plate? She head shook. I thanked her and walked back to my car, legs shaking. Black SUV, liquor store boxes, wrapped in a blanket. I called Detective Alvarez again and left a voicemail with everything she'd told me. Then I sat there, gripping the steering wheel. I had one more person to call, the one person I didn't want to, my ex-father-in-law, Thomas Reed. He's the one who'd helped my husband buy the cello in the first place. He collected instruments, knew dealers, auction houses, restoration shops. He picked up on the first ring. Emily. I blinked. How did... He said, I heard your voice in my head before you spoke. What happened? I closed my eyes. My parents stole Lena's cello. A sharp inhale. They sold it. Silence. Then, how? I said, they had a spare key. And you let them keep breathing? I huffed out something that might have been a laugh. They say they got $87,000. Another pause. That's a rush price. I know. Do you know to whom? No. He didn't hesitate. I'll make some calls. Tom? He said, that cello has a paper trail. It's been appraised, insured, played in competitions. It's not invisible. I'm scared it's already gone. If it went through a legitimate dealer, someone will talk. And if it didn't? His voice hardened. Then we make it radioactive. By noon, my phone was buzzing every 20 minutes. Detective Alvarez called back. Your parents' phones are off. Of course they were. We are requesting bank records. How long does that take? A warrant, but we're moving. My brother finally texted again. You're blowing this up. I stared at the screen. Typed, where are they? No reply. I drove home and walked straight into Lena's room. I hadn't been able to look at it properly since yesterday. The empty stand, the indent in the carpet, the ghost of her routine. I opened her closet and found the old student cello she'd outgrown years ago, shoved into the back. I pulled it out and set it on the stand. It looked wrong, smaller, muted, like a placeholder. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Yes? Miss Carter, a man said, my name is Richard Hale. I work at Northbridge Fine Instruments. My heart slammed into my ribs. Yes? We received a cello yesterday afternoon that matches the description that's been circulating. Circulating? Where? In our Denver showroom. Denver, 4 states away. When did you get it? Yesterday, a private seller, elderly couple. I closed my eyes. That's my parents. We suspected there might be an issue, he said carefully. The seller didn't have full provenance. Do you still have it? Yes. I gripped the edge of the desk. Please don't sell it. We've already flagged it internally. Thank you. There is one complication. My stomach dropped again. What? It was placed on consignment this morning. We have an interested buyer. My breath caught. Who? I can't disclose that. Has it sold? No. When? They were scheduled to view it this afternoon. I looked at the clock. 1:42 p.m. I'm calling the police, I said. We already have. Relief crashed through me so hard my knees almost buckled. Detective Alvarez contacted us less than an hour ago. I sank into a chair. Is it safe? For now.
for now wasn't enough, because my parents had already gotten the money, my brother had gone silent, and someone in Denver was about to fall in love with my daughter's cello. And I had a feeling my parents hadn't told me everything about what they'd done to make that sale happen.